Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today, I've got a little video for you that I am very interested in seeing the results, because just a short while back I got the DeWalt 60V 20-inch battery chainsaw, and they claim a whole bunch of claims about it having, twice as much torque as a 50cc gas chainsaw, and it'll cut through like a 17-inch wide oak round in so many seconds. I can't remember exactly what they claim on that. But anyways, today I want to put that saw and the Stihl MS271, which is a 50cc gas chainsaw, I want to put it to the test. It's got a 20-inch bar on it. The DeWalt has a 20-inch bar. So we're going to do a few little comparisons. We're going to look at the weight and stuff on them. But first, I got to get this one fired up. It's actually been sitting back here on the shelf in storage for probably a little over a year and has not been started. So I thought I'd go ahead and video this too, getting this thing started up. I put good fresh gas in it. It should be good to go. The previous gas actually had fuel stabilizer in it, so it probably would have fired up just fine anyways. I like to use that Echo Red Armor. That stuff, I've never had a problem with any piece of equipment sitting for a long period of time and not being able to start. So let's jump right in here and see if this thing will fire up. So let's go ahead and weigh these two saws before we head out into the field. Stihl MS271 weighs 17 pounds, 7.3 ounces. That is full of gas and full of oil. The DeWalt 20-inch 60V battery chainsaw, 17 pounds, 9.8 ounces. So there's only a few ounces difference in these saws. The DeWalt is just a hair heavier than a 50cc gas chainsaw. I'm actually just a little bit surprised to see that they're that close, because I was thinking that the DeWalt actually felt a little bit heavier, but then I actually wasn't comparing them side by side at the time either. So as you can see, the weight of these saws is almost identical, and I would say that that's probably what they were shooting for, because you don't want a battery saw that's going to weigh a whole lot more than what a gas saw does. If you can get more performance for the same amount of weight, then I would imagine that's kind of what the goal is. Also, let's take a look here at the size. As you can see, the body of the saw actually is very similar. The DeWalt actually is just a little bit longer. The handle kind of sticks out there. But the overall size is very, very similar. As you can see on the DeWalt, the way that the design is, with the body being slim through here and then only widening out for the motor, it gives you a whole lot more room in your handle. Whereas this one, the handle is kind of tucked in, it's just a little bit closer to the saw body itself. All right, so we're out here in the field and we are going to be cutting on this piece of elm. I think this will be a pretty good test for our saws. This thing is probably pushing, probably 15 inches or so. So this will be a good, little stress test on the battery and our 50cc gas. So for this first cut, I'm actually just going to let the saw do as much of the work as I can. I'm not going to push down on it. I'm just going to kind of steady it and just kind of let it fall through. And we'll see which one cuts faster that way. That was pretty good. I was just trying to steady as much as I could and kind of hold it back away from the log so that the spikes didn't dig into it and create drag. So I was pulling the saw straight back a little bit to try to help keep those from hanging up. So I'm going to do the same thing on the gas saw. We'll make another pass with the DeWalt 60 volt. Now I'm gonna make one more pass with the Stihl MS271. I gotta say, I feel like those are pretty close, but I don't know, the Stihl actually feels a lot smoother and there's a lot less jerking and all that kind of stuff going on. I think it's coming from, it seems like the chain is a lot faster than what it is on the DeWalt. But that Stihl, when you crank it up and it's cutting through, it's just as smooth as silk all the way through, whereas that DeWalt just kind of has a little jerky motion. Now, if I was pinning that saw up against the log, it probably wouldn't have that. But just in trying to hold it up and let it fall and not let the metal spikes interfere with the way the saw is actually falling through, then that's kind of the sensation that I'm getting from it. So we're going to do a few more cuts, and I'm going to use the 60 volt again, and I'm going to put pressure on them. I'm going to force them to the point, you know, to where that they're almost about to stall, or at least to the point where there's quite a bit of pressure on them, and to where that they will cut the fastest without stalling out. That'll kind of give us an idea of whether that battery saw really does have a lot more torque than what the 50cc gas does. Wow, I'm impressed at how much you can really just push this and push it. Yes, you can probably stall it out, but the pressure I'm putting on that is more than what anybody should be putting on a chainsaw. So now let's do the gas saw the same way. So this isn't a real scientific way of doing this. A lot of this is just kind of subjective to, you know, my feeling and my preference of what I like. The Stihl actually feels a lot smoother whenever you're cutting, but I think that, you know, comes to the chain speed. I haven't actually measured these, but the Stihl just really seems like that the chain speed is a lot higher than what the DeWalt is. And it seems like the DeWalt is a little bit lower end, and maybe that's what gives it that extra torque is the way that they have, you know, the motor set up in order to provide that torque is to run at a lower RPM. I will say the DeWalt, it seems like I can definitely put a lot more pressure on it without it stalling. And you can see actually on the Stihl a few times, you know, I was able to pretty much stall it or get it close to that stall, and, you know, just a little bit more pressure would have stalled it out, and I was not putting nearly the pressure on as what I was on the DeWalt. Again, you know, like, you really shouldn't need to put that kind of pressure on a saw, but I was just kind of wanted to test out the torque and see, you know, if I could really feel that difference between what they claim, this one being twice the amount of torque as what a 50cc gas has. And yes, you can definitely feel the difference in it, you know, and you know, about how much pressure you can put on there. But do you need that much pressure? No, you don't. I mean, that's one of the things that is kind of a misconception. If you have a chain that is not sharp and you're having to put that much pressure on it to cut, then you need to sharpen your chain and keep your chain sharp all the time so that you don't have to put that force and that much pressure on it. I hope my audio is coming out okay today. The wind is blowing like crazy out here. It is a windy fall day, and it's actually pretty cool. It's only in the 60s right now, or upper 60s, and that wind blowing, as hard as it is actually making it feel much cooler. But a couple things to kind of notice on the Stihl. If you notice, the chips are flying way out the back on this thing, and the way that the chip deflector is, like it lets the chips fly way out behind you. The DeWalt, actually, they drop straight out the bottom and create a pile directly under where you're cutting. So if you notice the chips right here, we got a pretty good sized pile right here, and this is all from the DeWalt. But then right here, they stretch out, and that's actually from the Stihl throwing them out the back. So the question is, does double the torque equal double the cutting speed? No, I don't think so. This actually felt like they were very close in cutting speed. Even whenever you were putting a lot of pressure on them, you know, they still felt like they were cutting about the same speed. I don't have a timer out here, but there will be a timer on the screen whenever you all watch this. But to me, it feels like they're pretty close. But it's still not a 100% fair comparison, because even though they're comparing this to a 50cc gas, it has a different chain on it, and it's completely different. The chain on this is a 3/8 low profile 50 thousandths chain, and the chain that comes on the Stihl MS271 is actually a 0.325 pitch, and it's a 63 thousandths chain. So guys, this is a fun video to make today. I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Follow along with us for all the projects we have going on around the property, and we'll see you on the next one.